Yo, Hendor here, the Average Use Slow-Pitch. Today, we're going to bring out the brand new 2025 Louisville Slugger Genesis. This drops next week, the 26th, I believe, is that Wednesday. You'll be able to grab it over on Slugger Slow-Pitch with code ADS35 or headbangersports.com, code ADS35. Today, if you haven't seen, we're back at Dona Ana. We haven't been out here in a while. This is usually kind of our last resort field. If you haven't seen a video here before, something of note is they've put up a bunch of new cell towers. They're actually putting up another one over there. But because of all the cell towers out here, the radar has a lot of problems, gets a lot of false readings. So we're not gonna have the radar running today. So if you wanna see kind of the speeds off of these new Jennies, either go back, watch the video I did with Big Chef and Dirty Sanchez, or even go back and watch the Brady video I dropped a few days ago as well. But for today, what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna at least go through the braking procedure here with the Ironman. We've talked to Dirty, the kind of way they're gonna go about this, it'll be on the Slugger Slow-Pitch page, is about 60 to 80 swings while rotating the barrel with Pro M's at like that 50-75% swing rate. Or I asked him, hey, what if we're gonna use 52s? He said, go ahead, send it, same number of swings, but you can kind of go 100% with that. So instead of our normal 40-ish 52s, we're gonna up that to about 80 today here on this one. Once that's done, we'll hop over to the Pro M's. And without that radar, we're really just gonna look at how's the ball jumping off this barrel. With us being back behind the actual home plate, we're about 10 feet back. That puts us at 342 down the line, 370-ish to that light pole out there, and then we're at about 402 to dead center. So it gives us a good, nice large field to kind of see how that ball's traveling, and then obviously to see how these new Jennies hold up with the supposed kind of new tech, new end cap, new way they're doing the paint, things like that. So big difference from the Brady on this one, and if you've seen like the Miami Nights, this one is a glossier paint job. I think it's really the glossiest of the four, so we'll see how that changes sound, things like that. But either way, let's go ahead. We'll roll through that braking procedure with the 52s, and then we'll hop over to some Pro M's. All right, let's see where the 2025 Louisville Slugger Ironman starts at. Make sure I got any wobble there. I feel like I just moved that. All right, dial this thing down to 0. And the new tech's been starting right around 270, 275, which is kind of to be expected from what we've seen from Louisville towards the end of last year as well. See if this is the same. And yep, sure enough, dead on 275. I think we saw the same thing with the Brady. But either way, let's go ahead out there. Braking procedure, followed by some 52s, some Pro M's, then we'll come back with final compression, final thoughts. And I didn't mention in the intro, but we added a few different 52s into the bag as ours are getting a little older, so we wanted to try some different balls, see kind of what performances we get. So we do have 24 of the Evil USA balls in there as well. I think they call them the Tournament Edition. We got 24 of the VP 52s as well, and then we have a dozen of the Razzo Pluses. So just some different balls just to see kind of performance-wise. We want to try to find that middle ground performance like we do with the Pro M's. Same reason we don't use Onyx, Mortars, Stadiums, Hardcores, things like that on the Pro M side. We want to stay away from the very top tier highest end ball if possible, so that you don't go out to a tournament and now you have to swing kind of one of those mid-tier balls wondering why your bat doesn't sound or kind of feel the same way that we have here on the video. Yeah, one of the first things I'm noticing here at this one is, as opposed to the Brady, which we ended up really loving there at the end, the Brady had that very high ping sound that I know a lot of people didn't like from previous Louis. We were a little worried, obviously we got more swings. This one straight now from swing kind of number 1 already has closer to that broken in sound we got with the Brady, which is nice. And then I'm not a huge balance fan, but with this 27 we got here, it almost feels more like a mid-load or even a 0.25, where it's still, I think, ideal for the balance fans. But for like me, it gives the ability to just let the barrel kind of do its thing and let the bat just kind of through the zone nice and smooth. So just kind of something to keep in mind there. Interested to see how this sound changes with more swings like we saw with the Brady as well. But very promising, whether or not it's the glossy paint job doing that or maybe just the longer barrel.
Man, if there's ever been a question, man, these Jennies just hit 52s real well. I mean, I'm 4 swings in, haven't gotten all the way loose yet, and that ball is just jumping off this barrel.
Yeah, and still, I mean, last year the Louis for us were still the top performing USSSA bat for kind of the 52s. We talked about that a lot. And even now, between the Brady and then this one that has, I don't know, 15 swings on at this point, the balls absolutely, 52s are flying off. It feels great. Getting pretty good feedback, not only sound-wise, but on the hands, you can kind of tell where you're catching it. I mean, that last ball easily just carried over the left field fence, which, like we talked about, is a little over 340. So Definitely a great option for if you have to swing the 52s. And it'll be interesting to see if we find some USSSA bats this year that kind of compete with that. Again, that's not what they're built for, so I don't see any companies there trying to amp up their 52 performance, but if that stays the same, the Louis is still going to be kind of the top dog for that for us.
Man, it's so easy to get this little barrel through the zone, man. It feels good.
That one's murdered off the sweet spot. Yep, right into our bush. I mean, it's very rare for me that I feel like you can just nice, easy throw your hands through the zone and get this kind of performance off of balance. I always feel like I have to kind of overswing a little bit to really provide that extra pop from not having an end load. And right now, this one is just, again, very easy through the zone, and I feel like we're going to be dead horse in that one, so I'm not going to go any further into that piece.
Yeah, nice, easy 300 right there.
Well, this ball's flying off the barrel. This is impressive.
There it is. Yeah, guys, again, you know, when it comes to this little two-piece Ironman right here, it definitely feels good through the zone. I've never been a big fan of balanced bats, but this is definitely an exception for those guys that like to use the weight of the bat, and it's still there. The sound is good.
Oh, dude, right over, yeah. So yeah, that's gonna do it for the 52s. Between me and Junior, we've been trying to keep a count in our head. We definitely have more than 60 swings. I think we're pushing right around 80. So we're gonna call that good for the break-in procedure. Again here, I think with the Brady, we went closer to 100. So, I mean, not a huge swing difference, but either way, we're gonna hop over to the Pro-Ms in our bag still. We've now got some of the super duper, the USSSA stamped ones, 44 375s. We have the regular Pro-Ms, or sorry, regular ZN Pro-Ms, the gold dots and the Razzo. So that's what the mix of balls we have in there as well. Gonna roll through, get about 100 of those as well, so that we push this bat pretty close to 200 swings. Then we'll come back with kind of that final compression, final thoughts. All right, we're going into the Pro-Ms with no webbing. All right. Woo! That felt good. Again, for a balanced bat, man, it's just doesn't take a lot through the zone to get the pop you need. I think people really got to consider making sure swing the weight that you can still control and get the fastest bat speed, because you go up with weight on these bats, and I think they're dropping 28s in a lot of these this year. It's going to do a lot more for you. I know I swung a lot of 25s, 26s a few years ago, have been moving up and up, and I found the power increase with the 27s has been great, while not having to swing as hard, which allows me to control it better. So just something to keep in mind. Plus, I think Dirty mentioned it, if you're a guy who should be swinging like a 27, 28, you're swinging the 25, you're gonna find those thresholds on a lot of bats sooner, which then causes them to obviously seam up, crack, break, things like that.
Definitely good carry from this Ironman initial swings right here. And you're still seeing a nice consistent sound when it comes to the 52 to the Pro-Am. It's a little bit louder, granted, you know, but still seeing a good consistent sound when you switch to the different balls.
Well, there's over our 400-foot fence right there. Holy moly. Off the hands a little bit. Yeah, you can definitely, you can tell the sound has changed a little bit. Obviously 1 Pro-Ms, 2 break-in procedure, but you get a much more traditional sound near the sweet spot. That one we got a little more of the higher pitch, but I definitely caught it lower. And so at least the sound, just like it's always done in the past, gives you a little bit of an idea of where you caught it, but also I could feel it kind of stiffen up on the hands, which is nice without getting the sting.
Oh man. Still a little bit under the ball right there, and we just bounced it off the fence. It goes to show you how good the forgiveness can be on these Jennies.
See how far that goes on a slight miss. You can tell by the sound. Off the side of the building. Well, it's a boxing gym out there. Lucky it's all metal building. We try not to hit it at it too often. We've had the guy come out before, and we've been out here and mentioned it to us, and I mean, I get it's his business. We're not trying to hit it, but we're also at a baseball field. I feel like they should put a net out there. Just my 2 cents. But try to stay away from his building and stay more in that left center mark. Oh, that's got it. Piece that one. Off the tractor? Holy crap. I know you can't tell on the camera, and again, we don't come out here too often. That thing's almost always there, but there's our 400-foot fence from where we're at, which is right where obviously the fence is. Where that tractor is, there's a little ravine, and then a fence there and the tractor. So I'll see if it's been there so long, I bet you it's on Google Maps. We'll see if we get measured out, but when you catch I mean, again, that was no kidding sweet spot. That ball absolutely sails off this thing. When I said we were gonna stay in the left center area, I really didn't think we were gonna reach that tractor. We haven't done that before. We also haven't been out here, and when's the last time we came out to Donana? Probably 7-8 months ago. So it's been a while, but again, the carry's great. I am starting to see some webbing in here. Dirty's told us these bats are supposed to web, kind of like the old school days when you broke bats in, but we don't have a single sign of like true stress, seams, anything like that, which is great to see at this point.
Slightly under, and right, yeah, slight miss, and we're still at the bottom of the fence out there.
Oh man, that one might have felt the best yet. Into the second parking lot. Too hot for that white car. We're gonna call it done there. That puts us right at about 80 to 90 Pro Ms. Again, we had the roughly 80 52s as well. So 160, 180, somewhere around there total swings. Again, we use the 52s for our break-in with full speed swings. If you're using the Pro Ms, again, they recommend 50 to 75% for 60 to 80 swings, whatever. But with this one, compared to the Brady, we didn't really have to wait for kind of necessarily the sound change. It sounded pretty good from the start. I'll talk about all this a little more in the final thoughts once I get home and test it. But either way, it's good to see that going through the breaking procedure has caused this thing to obviously hold up. We saw with the bats we sold with Dirty and Chef, we had no issues with those either. Seemed like Louisville had pretty good success at the Viera. I think they call it Bat Wars. We weren't down there for that. But either way, just keep in mind the breaking procedure. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the final thoughts. Go over some of that kind of pros and cons. You obviously heard from Junior, his thoughts on it as well. But I think personally, performance-wise, definite upgrade from 2024. And then for the people that were really turned off by the sound, that's definitely fixed as well. So great product from Louisville. Nice to see the Pro-Am performance in my mind go up while still maintaining that really high-end 52 performance. All right, as we mentioned earlier on, obviously we couldn't do the velo on this over there at Donana, but we haven't obviously edited the video yet, so we got a chance to get back out here. A little bit of wind, but it ain't too bad, especially not for the velo piece. So we're just gonna get some velo swings on here, just so you can get an idea of what how it's performing, and then obviously we'll go back to final compression, final thoughts.
110 miles per hour. 103 miles per hour.
Whew.
96 miles per hour.
Heads up.
110 miles per hour. 107 miles per hour.
Yeah, and there you have it. There's the velo again, 44 375s. We're now pushing 230-ish swings here with this one. 100 and, I don't know, 15, 120 Pro-Ms. The rest were the 52s that you saw. Let's get back to the garage. Final compression, final thoughts. All right, now that we are back at the house, about 180-ish swings as we talked about in here with the Louisville Slugger Ironman. Let's see where this thing is testing at. Make sure it's sitting on 0. That might be a little too high. Hang on. Let's do that again. That is better. And we're looking at about 250, 255. So either way, for that many swings on about to feel that good, that's what I like to see. I mean, at this point, This was going into my bag. There's no way I'm taking more BP swings anyways. To be honest, I wouldn't have taken this many BP swings in the first place. Me personally would have done the break-in procedure and then 20, 30 Pro-Ms just to get kind of a feel for it and put it away. So good sign there. Nice to see that the break-in procedure seemed to work here on this one. Really the same thing we saw being down in Florida with Chef and Dirty anyways, getting a chance to use some of those Challenge Cup demo bats that they had out there at Bat Wars. But we'll talk about this bat a little bit more here in the final thoughts. All right, we got our 27-ounce Louisville Slugger Ironman. This one does still have the pyramid grip on it. Just haven't taken it off yet. I normally take them off most of my bats. They weigh roughly 0.65 ounces, if I remember correctly. So if we subtract that from here, we're only 0.04 ounces off, which is awesome to see. Spot on kind of that sticker weight piece of it there. I would go with whatever weight you normally swing. Again, to me personally, it felt a little bit more like a mid-load or a very, very, very slight end load. But I think balance fans will still love it. And guys who maybe aren't balance fans but want that 13-inch barrel, they like this kind of gloss paint job, whatever it might be, I think you'll also like it too, because I'm a big end load person and it felt great. All right, and that wraps it up for the 2025 Louisville Slugger 13-inch balance Genesis. Again, we're swinging a 27-ounce model. And as you saw there, again, those first swings out there went through the break-in procedure, followed by obviously the Pro-Ms. We got to about 80, 52 swings, and then right at like 100, just under 100 Pro-M swings. So this thing had, what is that, anywhere between 160 to 180 basically swings on it. And as mentioned, no issues other than we've got some webbing in the paint. But even then, I can really only see it in the red portion of the Genesis. But either way, we talked to Dirty, and you probably, if you saw the video with me, Chef, and Dirty, he mentions that this year's bats kind of should have that traditional webbing on there, and it's nothing to be worried about. But other than that, we didn't see any issues. And then, as you saw there at the end, we were able to get out to our other field last night and get the velo swings on this. So we ended up putting another 30 swings on it last night. I did some of the velo, then a couple of the guys wanted to try it out. So it is a little bit over 200 swings at this point. No issues on it, like I said, other than that webbing piece. But either way, with that being said, just like the Brady, the Louisvilles still absolutely smashed the 52s from what we've kind of put together for us out here. They're still kind of in the top tier, and then not, I wouldn't say alone, but pretty darn close to being kind of up there and ahead of the other companies. Obviously, like things like the Axe dual stamp really compete with it because one, it's built for ASAs as well, but it has that USSSA stamp. But other than that, I mean, you can pretty much pick up any Louisville, and they absolutely destroy kind of the 52s regardless of what their compression's sitting at. And then from there, we went over obviously to the Pro-Ms. The ball was, I was really surprised at kind of the carry off of this one. I mean, I love the Brady. It's the Brady's in my bag right now. It's going to be in my bag. I would assume kind of all year at this point. I end up buying a few of them on drop as well to have extras. But off of this one, for being a balance bat, and I think I mentioned it while we're out there hitting, to me it felt a little bit more like a mid-load, and maybe it's because it's a 27 or even like a 0.25 end load, which I think is perfect because it'll suit both balance fans and people who want, or are traditionally, I should say, an end load person. But when you caught anywhere near the sweet spot, which felt huge, the ball absolutely took off. That ball that hit the tractor and the second ball that went over the tractor in center field are easily the furthest balls we've hit out there. Again, we haven't been out that field in 6-7 months, so I get things changed, but the ball was absolutely flying off this thing. To me, it was probably the best performing of the ones we've swung so far. Again, I haven't got through full reviews with Kylie's bat or Scott's bat just yet. We only got to swing those down with Dirty, but this is an amazing option. If you're somebody who's been waiting for kind of a balanced option, or you just don't really want the excessive end loads, this would still be the way to go. Even if you're normally a half-ounce end load person, I'd still recommend going with the 13 Ironman here when it drops, especially if maybe you are kind of debating between this and the Heartling. I think you can't go wrong with either one, since they're both gloss paint jobs, 13-inch barrels. They should perform generally the same. And like I said, we'll bring you a Heartling video soon, but just great performance there. You saw it at the velo. I just don't really have much more to say on that one. This turned out great for Louisville, I think, as far as making sure they brought another Ironman out there that people would really love. I know it's been a fan favorite for a few years now, but either way, this will be available on the 26th of February, so upcoming this Wednesday. You can get it on sluggerslo-pitch.com or headbangersports.com. Code ADS35 on either location will save you 20%. Again, this will be somewhat limited, similar to like the Brady. So if you are going to grab one, just be kind of quick about it. If you want some help picking one up, or just some advice on what to pick up, go ahead and reach out to me. I'll do my best to help you out. In the description of the video is the link tree. It has contact info, a bunch of links, codes, things like that to help you get the best prices at whatever site you're kind of looking for gear. And it's got the link to averagedudeslowpitch.com, which has all our rankings. We update the list of rankings pretty much as we're uploading the videos, so you'll see those immediately, and then give it a week or two and you'll see that on the far right side of the rankings, the full breakdown list, which then goes into more details on why we have bats ranked where we do. But with that being said, hope it's kind of helped you decide if you want to grab one of these on release date, maybe grab a different Genesis or go a different route completely. But either way, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate the support. Have a great day.